Hello, everybody, and welcome to KETIV Virtual Academy. My name is Tyler Hart. I'm thrilled to host you for this week's training and thought leadership session. We have an exciting session today, custom end types for fittings in Plant 3D. Your expert today is Chuck Hackett, an application engineer here at KETIV. Chuck is the man. Excited to have Chuck walk you through what we're talking about today. If you have questions for Chuck, please submit them to the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. That works better than the chat. We can get them answered either during the session or at the end. And also, as you can see on my screen here, all of these sessions are available on KETIV.com. You can scroll down and look at previous sessions, recently recorded sessions, or you can go to our YouTube page and view all of these. So view the old ones, sign up for the new ones. We have some exciting upcoming events. We have a product configuration KVA. We have a Vault Basic versus Vault Professional. And then if you go to KETIV's homepage, you can actually find some upcoming manufacturing leaders exchange events. So next Wednesday, we're talking with Jim Huskinson, the VP of Engineering at Idaho Steel. We have a sales configuration with Spectrum Industries on April 17th. And then this April 24th Leaders Exchange is actually in person in San Jose, California. So if you happen to be in the area, stop through. There's a happy hour. There is some food, and everybody is just doing some networking. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to hand it over to Chuck, and Chuck's going to take us from here. Thanks for being here, Chuck.
Hey, not a problem. Thank you for the introduction, by the way. All right, hopefully everyone can see my screen, but I just want to say, hey, welcome back, Command Line Warriors. It's great to see you again. My name is Chuck Hackett. I'm one of the support team specialists here at KETIV Technologies. Also help with the AutoCAD classes, the Plant 3D classes, the AutoCAD electrical, the verticals of AutoCAD. And I kind of wanted to share something that came into the support queue a couple weeks back from a buddy of mine. We end up getting lots of tickets from the same people over and over. I mean, they're KETIV customers and everything like that. And we get to know these guys. They become friends. They become family of KETIV. And he was expressing a concern that he was working on a brand new pipe spec. I believe it was a fiberglass pipe spec, but he had some little bushings or some socket-welded, if you will, that he wanted to make sure that none of his designers accidentally stuck this bushing on the end of a straight piece of pipe. He wanted them to only be available to go into, say, a socket weld T or something like that. It was kind of a cool question, and we were able to get it figured out really quick. And I figured it was something that I could share with you guys to make your day a little bit better. So those of you that are the CAD admins, you could maybe make your designer's life a little bit easier. So what I have on my screen here is just a basic piping manifold that I have. It's on a skid. It looks like a bypass of some sort. Let me go ahead and zoom in. In fact, I set up a custom view to be able to get back to what I wanted to talk about. So here we're looking at the area that I wanted to talk about. We got this OLED here. Normally, what you would see over on the right-hand side that I kind of circled with a square is you have your OLED going into a socket weld T, and from there you got, in this case, 3/8 inch tube coming out of there to be further routed down the line. You'll also see that this fitting that I have right here that I have highlighted, if I move this fitting currently, it actually connects up to a straight run piece of pipe. Now I'm just going to hit the undo key to undo that, cause a space again. You can see my nice little water droplets that are letting me know when things are connected or are not connected. Now, there may actually be an instance where you would take an OLED like this and you would weld it to a piece of pipe. I'm not a welder. I am not an engineer by trade, so someone probably has a reason why you would want to do that. However, my buddy that I was talking to is he has explicit instructions from the manufacturer that, hey, this fitting is only for use with socket weld items like a T. So how do we define that? If I select my bushing here, and for the command line warriors, if I just push Control-1, that will open up my properties. And I scroll all the way down to the bottom of the list on this OLED, you can see that one end of this OLED has a plain fitting and the other end of this OLED has a socket weld fitting. Okay, that's what allows everything to connect together. And if I were to go into the settings, which we'll do here in a little bit, you'll see that plane fittings are allowed to connect to other plane fittings and whatnot. So in order to prevent this, we need to make a new end type. Okay. Command line warriors, pay attention because as far as I know, there is not a button for this. What we're going to need to do is we're going to have to come up with a new end code. So at my command line, I'm going to type in plant end codes. Maybe if I spelled it correctly, plant end codes. The autocomplete fills it out for me. I can go ahead and go enter. And these are all the end codes that are available to work with inside of Plant 3D. Okay, I got a socket weld female fitting. My PL is a plain end or a socket weld male fitting. So I want to make a new end code that's for a socket weld male, basically, and add it to the list. So the code that I came up with that made sense to me was SI for a socket insert. So this can only be inserted into a socket weld, right? So now that I'm inside of my plant end codes, I'm going to go, I'm going to hit enter to get that open again. And I'm going to add a new end code to the list. Okay, so I click on add, and I have to give this end code a name. This name has to be all one word, no spaces, no funky characters, anything like that. So I'm going to go with SI for socket insert. Under the description of this, I can go ahead and write anything that I want. And I'm going to list this as a socket weld insert, male and type. Okay, just to try to be descriptive, so if someone comes along in the future, takes a look at this, they know what's going on, right? I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And if I scroll down to the bottom of my list, my socket weld insert, male end type, is now an option. Okay, so there's a couple different things that I have to do here. One, I have to program into Plant 3D to allow this connection to happen. And two, I need to actually go in and modify this fitting to have that end code. So in order to get into the setting to allow this to happen, I'm going to come over to my project manager. I'm going to right click on the project name, and I'm going to go into my project setup. It's going to take a few seconds. If you're ever playing around in this, you know that it takes a little bit to load up. All right. So now that I am inside of my Plant 3D settings, I'm going to go to the Plant 3D expansion, and I'm going to click on the piping connection settings. Here's all the rules that allows what to attach to what. If you look at the socket weld connection, there is a plain end type and a socket weld end type. This is where we're going to need to add in our new end type, okay? I expand this, so a socket weld joint. I'm going to modify this joint. And on the end that has the plain end fitting, that's where I'm going to add my new end type, the socket weld male. Okay, you can see SI in the list here, even though it is kind of showing a different little header here when I highlight over it. Not to worry. I'm going to click the modify button to accept it. I can now see that socket weld joints allow either a plain end or my socket insert on one end, the socket weld fitting on the other. The same thing that I preach in my classes, anytime that you make any changes to your project setup, hit the apply button, wait for the flash, then hit OK. So I'm going to hit the apply. There's my flash, and I'm going to hit OK. So that's programmed in. We're good to go on that. Now I need to actually modify this insert to where it does the same thing. Now, I already have my spec editor open. Okay, the same word of warning that I always give when you're inside the spec editor is to take a look up top and make sure you are in the correct spec. My specs are referencing from the project itself, so that's the one I need to be in. If I go to my list of fittings that are available, I can find my socket. I can right click on, or excuse me, I can come over here to the right hand side and I could say, show it to me in the catalog. Okay. And it's going to filter out, okay, socket weld, 3,000 pound, butt weld by socket weld, 7/8 inch long. That's the one I'm looking for. I can filter for a socket. I can filter for a BV, which is a beveled edge, and the pressure class of 3,000. And I need to be in the ASME pipes and fittings catalog, right? So I'm going to come up here to my catalog editor, and I'm going to go find that. Make sure I'm in the correct catalog here because it likes to switch. I'm going to open up my short description. I'm going to find my socket. I'm going to find my end type of beveled. I'm going to find my pressure class of 3,000 pounds. That brings me down to 2 of them. And I need to filter that a little bit more to figure out which one's which. So let me open this up, figure out which one it is. I'm going to double click my socket on here so I can take a look at the settings. Takes a few seconds because there are a lot of fittings in here, right? So a 2 inch is 7/8 inch long, 2 by a half is 5/8 inch long. Okay, that's what I'm looking for here. If I go into the individual and I go into my sizes, my 2 inch is, this one says 47 out of 50, so I'm in the wrong one. Okay, real quick, easy way to figure out which one you should be in. Okay. Scroll up. I'm in the other catalog now. I click on my 2 inch. It's 7/8 of an inch long, and my 2 by a half is 5/8 of an inch long. I know I'm in the correct fitting now in the catalog. So what we want to change here is we want to actually change the end type that's on the end of this. So I'm going to hit the selection tree. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find my socket weld insert. And you know what? I didn't save my drawing, so it didn't populate through. So let me go back, save my drawing here. It happens, not to worry. Save my drawing. Come back to my specs, right click, edit spec, make sure I get everything updated. It's opening on my other monitor. I'll pull that over in just a second. Okay. Pull it back. I'm going to go back to my catalog editor, go back to the ASME fittings, and I'm going to come down to my socket. Again, I want my beveled end type, and I want my 3,000 pounds. And I believe it was the bottom one. I will double check my sizes here. 2 inches, 7/8 of an inch long, 2 by a half is 5/8. I'm in the right one. So now I should be able to find my socket insert end type. There we go. I have that switch. The other end is still a socket weld. Okay, perfect. We're moving along what we want. Need to make sure to hit save. So I'm going to hit that. And everything has been saved. I'm now going to go back to my spec editor because now I need to update this individual piece, right? So if I come up to the menus and go to specs, I can update specs from my catalog. For the command line warriors, it's Control K. It's going to synchronize. It's going to make sure that it has the info. And it's going to say, hey, something in here has changed. In my case, my sockolet's changed. Also looks like my gate valves changed, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and click yes, please update my parts. And after a second, because sockolets have so many items in there, it takes just a minute or so. All right. We can see that I now have my asterisk on my file saying, hey, you need to save your changes that you've made. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the save button. And I'm going to go ahead and jump out of my spec editor. I'm done with that for now. Okay. Now that I am back into my project, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of both of these sockolets. I don't really need them. I'll get them replaced. But anytime you're making changes to your spec, you need to make sure that your designers go back to Plant 3D and they need to change the spec to something else, doesn't matter what it is. Then they need to go back to be able to force update those changes. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to pick any other spec, doesn't matter. I'm going to go back to my carbon steel 150 pound. And I can come down to my sockolets. In fact, I prefer to use this guy here so I can choose what I want. See here, my main run is a 1/2 inch. My branch is 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to come down to my sockolets. Pick my sockolet and oh, interesting. That one's not there. Okay, so we're going to pick that here. And we'll see if that will work. All right. I think I picked the wrong one. Cool. I love it when a plan comes together. You know what? I did pick the wrong one. I picked stockolets instead of my reducing bushings. So let me go fix that. Okay. That's why we trial and error before we go ahead and push this out to our end users. So I'll make sure to go back and fix my my sockolets, but actually I want a reducing coupling here, probably my reducing insert. That's awesome. Hey, but you know, hey, it happens to all of us. We all do it. It's how we move past it that keeps us going, right? So I want my 3/8 by 1/2. Make sure that's in here. There it is, right there. Okay, reducing insert type 1. All right, I will fix that other fitting later. So I'm going to clear out my selections here. And let's go find that reducing insert. Okay, so I'm going to go through my list and reducing insert type 1. I want a 3,000 pound, so I know I'm in the right one. And hey, that plain end matches instead of the beveled end. All right, so same thing as before. On this end that says plain end, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to pick my socket insert, and I'm going to save that to my catalog. I'll fix the other one later. I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to come back to my spec editor. Command line warriors, Control K will help you synchronize. I just wish you could do Control S for save. I'm going to look at my details. Hey, my reducing insert was updated. I'm going to accept that change. I'm going to wait for the asterisk and make sure to save that one as well. While that's saving, I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. All right. I'm going to hit the save button, got rid of my asterisk. Now I'm going to jump out of here. Again, same thing you would do to your designers, change specs. Doesn't matter which one. So I'm selecting my carbon steel 300. I'm going to go back to my carbon steel 150 pound. And I'm going to come over here to my reducing bushing, which is reducing insert type 1. And I'm going to click on my T, and it works. It connected into the T insert. Okay, that's perfect. The ultimate test here is it going to give me an error when it tries to connect to this straight run of pipe? Success. It does not work on the straight run of pipe. That's exactly what I wanted it to do. So now this fitting, although it's trying to do it, you can see my little water droplets are saying, no, this isn't going to work. Okay. You can also, when I select the pipe, or excuse me, the insert, you can see the little plus saying, hey, it's not connected. But when I come down to my T over here, if I continue to run my pipe, everything functions as it should. It really should be that easy. And even though I picked the wrong fitting, it was real quick and easy to get back on track. We still did that whole thing in about 20 minutes. Okay. Don't be afraid to get in there and mess around with your Endtypes. Try to make your designers a little easier. And little tech tip, as we learned here, make sure you troubleshoot it before you do it. But that's really all that I have, Tyler. Do we happen to have any questions today?
Awesome. Thank you, Chuck. No questions have come through yet. I'm just going to go check the YouTube really quickly.
Sure.
No questions yet. If you do have questions for Chuck, please send them to the Q&A now. Otherwise, we can get those answered later. You can always reach out to KETIV through our website or through support@ketiv.com. And also, like I said, all sorts of great resources on KETIV Virtual Academy and our website. Looks like we did have, okay, Brian Kelly. Brian, thanks for being here. Haven't used AutoCAD Plant 3D, very interesting. Let us know if you want to learn more. So with that, Chuck, thanks for being here.
Hey,
looking
not
forward
a problem.
to having you back.
Cool. All right. Well, everybody have a great day. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, support@ketiv.com. We will do our best to help you out.
Thanks, Chuck. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.